Let me get my camera together. Let me get my lighting together. What's up? What's up? What's up? We are live on YouTube. This is the first of many. This is day one. This is day one. What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm here. I'm here in live. Look, guys. I want to be able to start going live on YouTube. This is something that I told myself I was going to be doing. Hold on a second. This is something I told myself I was going to start doing. Going live, going live, going live. What's up? What's up? It's a little bit different from Instagram. But one thing I wanted to do is be able to introduce myself. One thing I told myself I was going to do is going to be more active on YouTube. Share some about some of the stuff that I've been doing. So some of my story of how I got to what I'm doing right now. And if anybody who's been following me for the past 3, 4, 5 years, I'll talk about something that something I'm very passionate about, something that has really got me to where I am today. And that's all about leveraging personal credit, right? Leveraging personal credit to be able to buy assets, but then also leveraging personal credit to be able to get access to business funding and business credit. So as of the past 5 years, or past 2 or 3 years, I've really focused more on the business side. People ask me how I got into it, especially since I went to school for engineering, right? Um, it all started back during the pandemic, and I had a decent engineering job. Got paid decently well, but it got to a point where you could tell they were paying you just enough to not to feel comfortable, but not enough to really set you free. You didn't really have enough money to be able to do the things that you wanted to do. And I knew that there was more to life out there, and I felt like I was just running out of time. Right, I was running out of time out of the day. And it was one of those jobs where you could tell where you were going to be in about five to 10 years just by looking at your boss. And honestly, I wasn't impressed by my boss's lifestyle. I had been to college. I had been to college for 6 years, the hardest time of my life. So I'm thinking, okay, I busted my ass for 6 years. I want to be at least at a point where I could do the things that I want. I could travel when I want, go to the places that I want. But I, it, it wasn't that, and I knew I had to do something different, right? So what do people do? What do people do? They go on YouTube and literally type in how to be able to make more money. That's exactly what I did. I went on YouTube and the first thing that came up, real estate. Next thing was starting a business. Next thing was buying stocks. So I told myself, look, I gotta do one of those three, right? And we're on YouTube now. When you type that in, it's gonna be one of those three things. So the first thing I started was starting a business, man. Believe it or not, I started selling wigs, selling hair. Just because I knew no matter how bad the economy went, women are always going to be able to invest in their looks, right? So I knew somebody who was really good at hair. She knew hair, so I said, okay, this is going to be my business partner. We're going to take off, right? So the business did okay, but got to a point, ended up failing, but I had to figure out what else was I going to be able to do, right? Um, One thing I wanted to do was go to the next option. The next option was real estate. So I was like, okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to do. But the problem is, I'm here in California. Anybody in California, you know that the average price of a property is going to be like $700,000. Right. And that me being at like 23, 24 years old, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense that I was going to drop my life savings on a property, then I'll be house rich but cash poor. So it didn't make any sense, but I knew people were buying property still, right? It's the hottest market in the United States. So I had to figure out, okay, how was I going to be able to do it? Because I knew other people were doing it. So I started studying. I went to different mentorships. Man, I invested in myself. And actually, I found this woman who was buying properties in Ohio only using business credit, and blew my mind. What's the job market like for you? I said, what's the job market? Okay, I love you. Financial force multiplier. What's up, y'all? What's up? Doorware, the Silver Wanderer. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? Francesca. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, what's up? What's up? So I found this woman who was buying property using business credit, and it kind of blew my mind, right? Because the way we're talking about business credit or just credit in general is that where you only use credit for groceries, we use credit for clothes, or we don't use it at all, right? That's the way they were taught. That's what we're taught. So it blew my mind that somebody was using credit not to be able to consume, but to be able to buy assets and accumulating wealth. And that's the only thing she was using. She was not using cash out of pocket. So I'm like, okay, this is something I gotta learn. Bro, so I spent $1,000 for a 45-minute conversation. $1,000 for a 45-minute conversation. Yes, I invested in high level mentorships, but that was for like it was for like $5,000, $6,000. But that's for a year. But I'm talking about $1,000 for a 45-minute conversation. You do the math, how many dollars per minute that is. But during that 45-minute conversation, she literally broke down everything. It opened up my mind, right? Not only I figured out, okay, what are the top banks to be able to go to, but most importantly, how do I delete hard inquiries? That's what changed the game for me. How to be able to apply over and over and over again, have my funding system to be able to get an unlimited amount of business funding without it hurting my personal credit, and then being able to delete the hard inquiries so I could be able to make it a repeatable process over and over and over and over again. So I learned all the top banks. I learned how to be able to research the top banks based on where I live, based on how much money, how will my personal credit look like, everything in the source. I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do, right? So, I used the business credit, started so a few other businesses, all by leveraging the bank's money. Because why would we use our own money when we can use somebody else's? All right. Um, yeah, why would I use my own money when I use somebody else's? And it went well. I was able to flip a property out in Houston. Did a new construction deal outside of Atlanta. It's cool. Use other people's money. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm able to do it for myself. And a lot of people were coming to me asking, how am I going to be able to do it? I said, all starts with the credit, right? So that's when it came to me. I said, okay, well, look, I was able to fix my own credit. I was able to help my family build out their credit. Why not start doing it for other people as well, right? So, started the credit repair business. Um, and man, it did well, man. And as I was cleaning up people's credit, I realized, okay, these people are getting to the end, but now they got to use the credit for something, right? Because people come to me, it's like, yo, I want to be able to invest in properties. I want to be able to, I want to start my own business. And I said, okay, well, look, you need to be able to get funding. But a lot of times they didn't know how to be able to do it. And I said, okay, well, now I got somebody from A to B. Now it's time for me to get them to B to C. All right. So that's where the funding company ended up coming in. But like I said, I really want to be able to get back on here on YouTube, to be able to talk more about my story. I love this engagement already, y'all. OPM, okay, yeah, Miss Larry Edwards, okay, I see you. But yeah, man, I'm about to be going live more often. We're going to be teaching the game in and out. Like I said, it is really just an impromptu thing. It's 10:45 out here in California, but I wanted to be able to drop in real quick. If you guys got any questions at all, if you got questions about anything that I posted in the past, let me know. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh shit, how do I close this up? Oh, this is awkward. I don't even know how to hang up. Oh, hold on. I can change the lighting on here, y'all. Okay. Oh, we lit. Hold on. Y'all didn't tell me we could do all this. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? Oh, that's crazy. Yo, that's crazy. Hey, bro, I'm gonna have a good time with this. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, y'all. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Or you want to